When love felt like a game. When love felt like a game, it was the summer when everything seemed possible, and nothing had yet been lost. In the small, sun-dappled town of Willow Creek, where afternoons lingered and the scent of blooming magnolias drifted through open windows, two lives would cross in ways neither could have imagined. Evelyn Carter was the kind of woman who moved through life with a quiet confidence, someone who found poetry in the ordinary details of each day. She worked at the local library, cataloguing stories but rarely believing that her own could be one worth telling. Her life was measured by the hum of the air conditioner and the shuffle of pages, the gentle conversations with regular patrons, and the comfort of routines she could count on. Then there was Max Donovan, who had just returned to Willow Creek after years away in the city. With an easy grin and a mischievous spark in his eyes, Max seemed to carry the promise of adventure wherever he went. He was the sort of person who turned even the simplest moments into something memorable, someone who radiated the energy of possibility, as if every day could be the beginning of something extraordinary. Their first encounter was fittingly mundane. Evelyn was shelving books in the fiction section when Max wandered in, searching for something to read during his stay. He greeted her with a nod, running his fingers along the spines until he found a well-worn copy of The Great Gatsby. As he pulled it from the shelf, their eyes met, and there was something in his smile that made Evelyn's heart skip, a sense of familiarity, as though they had met before in another lifetime, or perhaps in a dream. Over the next few days, Max became a regular at the library. Each morning, he would appear just after opening, coffee in hand, asking for recommendations and lingering just a little longer than necessary. He started with the classics, but soon let Evelyn guide him through her favorite novels, her eyes lighting up as she described the worlds contained within their pages. One afternoon, as thunder rumbled in the distance and rain streaked the windows, Max challenged Evelyn to a game. He called it the book hunt. He would leave a clue hidden in the stacks, and she would have to find it, leading her on a playful chase through the aisles. The clues were clever and laced with humor, references to characters and plots, inside jokes that only a fellow book lover would appreciate. Evelyn found herself looking forward to each new riddle, her laughter echoing softly through the quiet library as she pieced together the hints. With every playful exchange, the boundaries of her world seemed to stretch a little further, making room for something she hadn't realized she was missing. But as summer deepened, so did their connection. Their conversations grew longer, spilling over into evenings spent at the corner cafe, where they shared stories over mugs of hot chocolate. Max told tales of the city, the chaos and the lights, the way people rushed past each other without ever meeting. Evelyn spoke of Willow Creek, of the comfort in its stillness and the beauty in its simplicity. One night, as the fireflies danced in the warm air and the sky blushed with the last traces of sunset, Max invited Evelyn to join him for a walk by the lake. The water shimmered, reflecting the glow of distant porch lights, and the world felt impossibly vast and intimate all at once. As they strolled along the shore, Max stopped suddenly, turning to face her with a look she hadn't seen before, a vulnerability that made her breath catch. "Do you ever feel," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "like life is just a series of games we play to keep from admitting what we really want?" Quote. Evelyn hesitated, searching his eyes for the meaning behind his words. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but maybe the right person makes all the games worth playing." Max smiled, and in that moment, the distance between them vanished. He took her hand, and the touch was electric, a promise, a question, an answer all at once. The world grew quiet, the only sound the gentle lapping of water against the shore and the soft beating of their hearts. From that night on, their story unfolded with the gentle certainty of a well-loved novel. They spent their days exploring hidden corners of Willow Creek, inventing new games and challenges, daring each other to take risks, to dream bigger, to imagine a world together. They picnicked beneath the ancient oak trees, tracing constellations in the sky and sharing hopes they had never voiced aloud. Yet for all the laughter and lightness, there were moments of hesitation, questions that lingered like shadows at the edge of the day. Max's time in Willow Creek was meant to be temporary, a brief interlude before returning to the city and the life he had built there. Evelyn wondered whether the magic they had found could survive beyond the borders of their small town, whether love could be more than just a game played in the fleeting days of summer. As the season drew to a close, the air grew cooler, and the leaves began to turn. The certainty they had felt became tinged with uncertainty, as reality threatened to intrude on the world they had created. There were long walks where words faltered, stolen glances that spoke of things left unsaid, and a growing awareness that time was running out. On the eve of his departure, Max found Evelyn at the library, sitting by the window with a novel in her lap, lost in thought. He approached quietly, sliding into the seat across from her. For a long moment, they sat in silence, the weight of goodbye settling between them. Finally, Max reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "You once said the right person makes the games worth playing," he said softly. "But I don't want this to be a game anymore. I want it to be real. I want you, all of you." Evelyn's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of hope. She squeezed his hand, her voice steady despite the emotion that threatened to spill over. "Then stay," she whispered. "Let's see what happens when we stop playing and start living." In that moment, something shifted. The walls they had built, out of fear, out of habit, out of the belief that love was just a fleeting game, came tumbling down. They leaned into each other, finding solace in the warmth of shared vulnerability, in the promise of a future neither had dared to imagine. Max never boarded his train back to the city. Instead, he found a small apartment above the bakery on Main Street, where the scent of fresh bread mingled with the laughter of children and the distant chimes of church bells. He took a job teaching creative writing at the local high school, inspiring a new generation to find their voices, to tell their stories. Evelyn continued at the library, her days now colored by anticipation, of evenings spent cooking together, of lazy Sunday mornings tangled in sheets, of the simple joy of knowing that love, real love, had found her at last. Together, they built a life rooted in the quiet magic of everyday moments. They filled their apartment with books and music, with the trinkets and memories of adventures shared. They traveled when they could, exploring new cities and returning home with stories to tell, always grateful for the place, and the summer, that had brought them together. Years later, as the world changed and seasons passed, their love endured. It was no longer a game, but a partnership, a commitment to showing up, to choosing each other every day. They faced challenges, weathered storms, and celebrated triumphs, always remembering the summer when love first felt like a game worth playing. And so, in the little town of Willow Creek, where the magnolias still bloomed and the afternoons still lingered, Evelyn and Max proved that sometimes, the best stories are the ones we dare to live. That love, when it's real, is not about winning or losing, but about finding someone who makes every moment, every game, every challenge, every quiet hour, worth sharing. As twilight settles over the town and the soft glow of porch lights flickers on, their laughter drifts through open windows, a reminder that love is not a contest, but a dance, a game whose only rule is to keep playing, together, for as long as the story lasts.